Brodes Media.
I tried telling you there was only going to be one result, and that's an Eagles victory. 22-10. Was it pretty? No. That's how much better the Eagles are than the Green Bay Packers. Their passing game was non-existent. They didn't really do much after a majority of those turnovers. They left a lot of meat on the bones. Still won by 12. Still covered the 5.5-point spread. And the Packers were falling apart with frustration. Granted, they got banged up. So did we. Darius Slay had to leave the game with his elbow dangling. Nakobe Dean got roughed up and was carted off. Here's the difference, though. I put a big emphasis on offensive line, right? When they had to go to Glover and when their left guard got hurt and they had to switch things up at the line, they sucked. Holding. Here's Milton Williams and Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. When we go to our backup linemen, dominance. Since I've been born, thanks to Jeff Stoutland University, dominance. If we ever needed to dip into a secondary lineman, big difference in this football game. You know what else is? Jordan Love, 3 interceptions. Jalen Hurts, zippo. Zach Bond, fantastic. Darius Slay down the right side of the sideline on a deep shot attempt downfield. Beautiful catch. And then, thankfully, Quinyon Mitchell finally secures one. He deserves it. CJ ripped one out of his hands a couple of weeks ago. Q in the postseason? You kidding me? Quinyon getting to look at all the fans behind the field goal there, the field goal poles. And he goes, whoa, let's go. He deserves it. He's been a dog all year. Jordan Love, a mess. Jalen, a mess, but doesn't turn the rock over. And look, we have all week to pick apart this passing game, why it struggled, why it didn't hit the level it needed to, and if it doesn't get sharpened up, that we may be packing up and going home early. That's real. It needs to elevate. I do wonder, though, when it comes to any of these QBs, Justin Herbert, 1 billion interceptions, when it gets rough, what do you do? Now, Jalen took a sack I despised. There was some strange, bizarre third down calling where I don't know if this is a Jalen problem, a Kellen Moore problem, a Nick Sirianni issue, or a combination of the trio. But 3rd and 13, you're giving up and you're just running it with Saquon, understanding that, yeah, you know what? I want to punt here. What? With AJ, Devontae, and Goddard? You're going to punt on 3rd downs, essentially? You don't trust your offense? Maybe there's a reason why they don't trust their offense. And yes, I do believe in our defense more right now, especially in that game. But I don't want to concede. This is a weird 3rd and long fake toss, and then Jalen keeps it. There was the weird 3rd down screen on 3rd and 5 early in the game that I thought was mind-numbingly stupid. So I don't know what's going on. But I do think it's very important to note that even through the painful experience of watching this offense, Jalen didn't throw an interception. And imagine if instead of one of those field goal drives, it goes the other way. Green Bay gets starting field position at maybe like the 28 or the 29 because there's a pick involved. And instead of putting 3 up on the board, it's 7 the other way. Yo, that would be damaging. That would be brutal. Unacceptable. It didn't happen. And when you were dealing with adversity because Devontae in the 4th gets a holding, Lane in the fourth slips. He gets called for a penalty as well. And you're working the clock, which is your strong suit, and you put away 7 minutes, which is essentially half of the fourth quarter, which resulted in a field goal to make it 19-10. It's a big deal that even through the wonkiness of the offense, that you can still milk that time. It was 16-10. The missed extra point was something we were all staring at, and you get yourself in field goal range, even through some of the shooting yourself in the foot penalties, one from your wide receiver, one from your right tackle, and you get 3 points on the board. Yo, Jake Elliott, 3 field goals? I must say, while it was a stinger that you missed the extra point, and we all wondered how that would come back to play in the end, 3 field goals. You needed that. And they weren't any of those, oh no, it looks like it's in the pole nonsense, and it just squeezes in, and he doesn't look confident in doing it. He stepped up to the plate and had some massive kicks there. You needed Jake Elliott in this one, and you got it. Once again, we will reflect back on this, and we will demand more from the offense, because you can't turn them over as often as you did and not punch it in the end zone. Against better opponents, it probably will cost you. It looked great early, though, didn't it? Scoring 10 points. You hit Dotson. Jalen's got almost 7 seconds in the pocket. He's debating on if he should run. Then he goes, you know what? No, I'm not going to run. I'm going to step back into the pocket. He almost fooled himself and fooled his lineman. He steps back into the pocket and throws a dime to Dotson, of all people, in the back of the end zone. So he looked crisp after not playing for a whole month. Maybe it's that simple, though. My man hasn't played a full football game in a whole month. He played 11 snaps 3 weeks ago in a game against the Commanders. But since he's been through this concussion protocol, maybe a good portion of this weirdness and this ugliness happened to be because, well, he hasn't gotten hit in a while. He hasn't seen live, real, legitimate coverage, out of a defense in a while. Devontae wasn't at practice Friday. You saw A.J. Brown not practicing as much as we would want throughout the week on Wednesday and Thursday. Was this something to expect? And now that they got that under their belt, they can only build off of it moving forward? I don't know. The other side of me goes, Brodes, we've been seeing this version of the Eagles all year long, where you hate them, then they dominate in the trenches, and they dominate with the run game, and Saquon takes over. And I started to see 5-yard chunks, 4-yard chunks. Saquon slides inbounds when he could have had another, 40, 50-yard run to the end zone. While I had to listen to Tom Brady and the broadcast show all this love in the world to Josh Jacobs because he decided to stay in bounds late and grab a yard or two, but taking physicality and taking more hits, then 2 seconds later, my man is hobbled on the sidelines. Hey, how about it's dumb? Okay, how about it's stupid? Especially knowing how that game was going. You got guys hitting their head in the end zone, and that was a really ugly scene. I hope everybody who got injured today, by the way, is as healthy as they can be moving forward, because it was a bloodbath out there. Guys were dropping left and right, and, you saw that happen with a couple of wide receivers for Green Bay, even after the Watson news, after what happened in their last game. So, yeah, they were down a lot of bodies, but that doesn't change the fact that they were undisciplined as hell. They were super frustrated because they weren't even in control. Even when they had drives, maybe it was 10 play, 11 play, I still thought Vic Fangio and the defense dictated a ton and still had command. They had the command of the drives. Even if Green Bay was moving a little bit, I don't ever remember Green Bay looking as if they had the solutions and they had the answers. You can have a couple of plays that lean into a first down and whatnot, but they didn't seem in control ever. And Vic Fangio sure did. A couple of situations they would probably like to have back: the Josh Jacobs run to the 1-yard line. The tackling there was piss poor. I think a big part of that, though, is losing a Nakobe Dean. Burks has to play, but Burks to start the game, my God, what a pop. My God, what a special teams play to have that ball fly loose. And whether you thought Green Bay recovered or not, a few things. One, we've been boned ourselves from garbage refereeing a billion times in my life. It's only due that we get rewarded, okay? We're only due for one, considering we've been bent over 1,000 times in this damn city. And two, go back and watch Trot. Go look at his intensity and his demeanor and him flying to the football with that aggressiveness. He created the fact that it was even debatable and went to the replay booth and they didn't have the sky cam, or did they have the sky cam? I don't know what replays they were looking at. If you go study how Trot did everything in his power to reach for that football and play the 50-50 game and motherfuck that ball right out of his hands. Yeah, that's a big, important special teams play. Special teams were big in this outcome, from Jake Elliott to what you saw to start the game off. So it's a nice win here, all right? It's a mix between, hey, you need to do significantly more and you need to improve so we can put ourselves in a better position. So whenever we figure out who we're playing next, you got to elevate for sure. You want to play with the big boys. This wasn't good enough for the big boys. At the same time, though, it's a big win. Look, big picture, Nick Sirianni, first year in the NFL, lost in the first round. Then they went to the Super Bowl and lost. Last year, lost in the first round. If they would have lost this game, which I would never imagine in a million years happening, because as I've been mentioning all throughout the week, the Eagles are superior. They're better in every single way, shape, or form. They are just more equipped to play off football right now, and that was shown on the field. I mean, Green Bay scored 10 frickin' points. All right, they missed a field goal. Whoop-de-damn-do, 13. That's not cutting it against Vic Fangio. Zach Bond's out there making plays. Darius Slay's out there making plays. Quinyon Mitchell's making plays. Nolan Smith has 2 sacks and is playing like his hair is on fire. And I told you that this ain't Bryce Huff anymore. The first time these two teams met, we were still trying to figure out that nonsense crap with the Bryce Huff. Well, it was the first game of the year, so saying still trying, it ended up continuing way longer after that. But you saw Bryce Huff out there, who was a legitimate nobody. Here's Nolan Smith turning it on and playing insane football. The guy is gross. He gets 2 sacks. Milton Williams is causing all sorts of linemen to hold him. Same with Jalen Carter. We're a different beast. The Packers aren't on our level. And this isn't anything surprising. It's not anything new. The Eagles didn't even play a good game offensively. Quite frankly, they kind of sucked in the passing game, and this was still a double-digit win. The defense is serious. Whew. Those turnovers were serious. 3 interceptions and a special teams forced fumble. Come on, man. Especially when you're doing it on the road, right? So here's Green Bay fumbling on the road on the first kickoff of the game. It's a different atmosphere. Try telling you, we're not Dallas. Yeah, but did you see what Green Bay did last year? Shove what Green Bay did last year up your ass. We are not the Dallas Cowboys. We can still find ways to win ugly games.